I'm not working only for 2026. I'm working to preserve the longevity of L'Oréal. So my name is Alexandre Menais. I'm the Group General Counsel of L'Oréal.
You operate in 150 plus countries, 5 different continents. How do you manage risk, stand behind your philosophy while also being compliant within the countries that you operate in?
In my view, the first, goal for a company, it's its consistency.
For a lot of people, AI has become this buzzword in the workplace, but for others, it's about navigating change, and change can be uncomfortable.
And I think it's a symbol, where the beauty is belonging to everyone.
It's great to be in Paris today, sat with the Group General Counsel of L'Oréal. I would love for you to introduce yourself, your role, and some of the things top of mind for you.
Thank you very much, Justin. Very happy to be here. So my name is Alexandre Menais. I'm the Group General Counsel of L'Oréal, meaning that I'm leading all the legal function and compliance function for the group.
I'm fascinated about how you got to your role today and some of the steps you took in your career in getting there. Would we be able to rewind and for you to share some of your career journey?
I joined the company 3 years ago only, and most of the people are asking me, what does it mean? Because I'm more a veteran from the tech industry, because in fact I used to work more for tech industry, tech companies, as well in private practice in Paris and in London. And I think now it's true that it's probably more easy moving from tech to beauty industry, because now within the beauty industry you have a lot, of techs, more and more. So now it's true that I have been all the time fascinating by new technologies. And it is true that if you take a company like L'Oréal, it's really, for me, the best of the both worlds, because you have a lot of engineers, meaning that's people who are working on the product, ingredient for the future and things like that, the new formulas that we have in our products. And also you have the genius of the marketing with a lot of ideas and really fascinated by creation, by a new way to communicate and to use in particular. And we have the opportunity as well to talk about AI and things like that. So it's a lot of challenges and very fascinating because it's a company moving a lot.
I'm really fascinated when I sit down with senior leaders about when you were younger, did you aspire to step into a senior leadership role? Was that something you always aimed for, or how did that come about for you?
No, not at all. In fact, after there is 2 things, 2 pillars. The first one is that chance, and you have sometimes, of course, to provoke it, to force it, right? And also a lot of work, if I can say, right, which is super important. But now, in fact, for me, I understand very quickly the level of weakness that I have, and decided to play only on my strengths. And in fact, I think at the end, it has been a bit secret of the recipe.
One of the things you touched on just a moment ago was all of the different functions that make up L'Oréal and the fact that you operate in 150 plus countries, 5 different continents. As Group General Counsel, I'm sure that keeps you on your toes and very busy. What's some of the challenges you have to navigate with being in such a large organization where every single person knows your brand? You just spoke about the marketing, the products. People love to wear your products or to use them. What's some of the things you have to navigate specifically with overseeing all of that?
It's true that when you are presenting things like this, you believe that I'm scary on a permanent basis. And it is true that, and in particular today, when you see what happened, we are super helped in terms, of potentially some scary things by the world that we have outside the company with the uncertainty of the world. And I'm sure we have the opportunity to rediscuss about that. The reality today is that it's true that the world in which we are, in my view, the first goal for a company, it's its consistency. Because in fact, in 2026, if you operate in Singapore, if you operate in New York, if you operate in Paris, what is super important is how an organization is consistent. Because we know that if you sign an agreement or if you have a commitment in New York, it may have an impact in Paris. We know that in the world in which we are, regulators, authorities are discussing together. And it is true that it's super complex today. And sorry to link with the news, but we know that whereas in fact countries and things like that are not following the law or, breaching regulation, what does it mean for an organization? How, in fact, you find your norms, your common norms. That's super complicated. And I think this is, first of all, today, the first role of the legal and compliance department is to make sure that we guarantee a kind of freedom to operate of our organization, but with a lot of consistency. We have to comply with some mandatory rules, but at the end, what is important is how we are capable to set up our common regulation. And also, on top of that, our values, because you know that this is super important for a company like L'Oréal.
So if we touch on your values as a nice segue into your organization, I love that your philosophy is so simple but so clear, and the beauty for all tagline that you have. What does that mean for your people internally, the tagline beauty for all, and making sure that your business, your products and everything you stand for is open and accessible to everyone, no matter their background, identity, gender?
First of all, and again, it's maybe not rocket science that I'm going to say, but if you want to sell this, if you want really to have an incarnation, if you are really representing those type of values, it's important that the company, of course, fits with that. And this is a deeper belief of L'Oréal that indeed diversities, inclusions brings a lot of value for the company. It's really a key element to our creating this value. And it is true that the fact that we are beauty for each, right? It's super important. It forces us in the way we are going to operate as a company, as a global organization, to take into account, of course, the particularities and the diversity of the world, meaning the way we are going to address it, the way we are going to commercialize it, the way we are going also to set up some specific products that we have in certain countries. We are taking into account, of course, the particularities of some people. And the way also we are going to awareness, the train of our people. Because when you are talking about diversities, it's not something that you can only declare. You need to have the act with that. One thing that has been for me, a driver to join L'Oréal is this one. Because I was super impressed that, for instance, our HR director, Jean-Claude Legrand, beginning of the 2010, he said, okay, I believe that diversity is super important. And it's not a statement only. They have put a lot of things behind this to make it happen. And I think for me, it's super important that when you have statement from companies, it's followed by acts. It's super, super, super important.
And with that in mind, one of the challenges for lots of global business is where you operate in so many different jurisdictions, there's different local nuances, local customs, laws that you have to abide by. As Group General Counsel, how do you navigate that, manage risk, stand behind your philosophy while also being compliant within the countries that you operate in?
It's super important that, of course, to guarantee the freedom to operate of the company at a local level. So we need to comply with the mandatory regulation. But in the same times, for certain type of matters, which are superseding, which are very close to our values, and if we see that there is a difference, between our values and the local law, we are going to prevail and to make sure that our values are superseded, if I can say, by managing the risk after. That's the responsibility, in fact, of our lawyers on the ground, to make sure that they can guarantee this balance between the value of L'Oréal. We are a super old company, L'Oréal is a old company, 115 years.
Okay.
So in fact, it's super important. I'm not working only for 2026. I'm working to preserve the longevity of L'Oréal. It's myself, I'm taking my example, but all my team. This is our commitment, You may have some rules in 2026 that will be totally different, we know, in 2028. Our goal and our responsibility is to prepare the L'Oréal for the future.
And if we touch on that future one, because it's something that excites me, and I think for a lot of people listening, they can learn a lot from you, is about that tech transformation, automation, being more efficient, the use of AI. So for a lot of people, AI has become this buzzword in the workplace. But for others, it's about navigating change, and change can be uncomfortable within the workplace. How do you implement tech, or what's your strategy as Group GC, and how do you bring people along the journey with you?
I believe that we are in a world of transition, a lot of transition today. And this transition is accelerated by, of course, the speed of the communication that we have. And it's something very important to think about, because if you see that humanity, in the certain period of our history, things were super slowed down. And we accepted the transition. Today, we have a transition, and there is a conflict between the transition period and the fact that things are going very fast. But we are in a transition period. The thing is, for lawyers, it's a super opportunity because it's set up and is setting up, some new legal concern, new question for lawyers that we need to address. But in the same time, it offers us the possibility to be more augmented because it brings us some capacity indeed in our reasoning and things like that, and for us to deliver our services. Like all technological revolution, it could be scary because in fact it forces us to, okay, how I'm going to adapt, with this new technology, new tools. And in particular, today with our different teams. Give you an example. When I started my career, my grandfather was not in the company. Today, you have people from 20 to 65, 70s who are in the country. So the gap, different gap of technology is huge. So that's a challenge for an organization today, is how you make sure that you can give the possibility, because for different generations, to play with the technology, which is so disruptive for certain people. That's why after, it's an important mission for organization, because the more difficulty that you can have is you have this breach of technologies, and in fact, it set up some exclusion in an organization. And again, it's important then to put some tools, to put some processes, okay, but to help change management is human.
It's fascinating you say that, actually, and it's something for us internally as a law firm we experience. I think often senior leaders forget that the generational differences is something that impacts every single person. So for us in our London office, we have 18-year-old solicitor apprentices that can now qualify as lawyers through the apprenticeship route. We have partners nearing the end of their career who are at a very different stage in their life. And it's exactly your point about communicating and bringing people along the journey with you, about how you bridge that gap between the different generations.
Actually, and it's a way, you're definitely right, and it's for young people, most of them are more agile by the using of technology, to pass and to transfer their knowledge to older people. So it's fascinating because, in fact, sometimes we build up organization from the bottom up to the top, on the guys who is at the top is the guys who is more experienced. It's no longer the question, now. In fact, it's really the capacity, because of your knowledge, to animate community. It's totally different in the way we are organizing now. I give you an example of what I did in the past, is that for people who are 60, 65, it's a way for them to still be connected with their children or grandchildren. That's why after, it's really a question of, because of technology, how you can address it and how you can train people, how you can, and not force. I think it's, for me, super important.
And for a lot of people looking at L'Oréal from the outside, they would see it as a beauty company first and foremost. Is that how you would describe it? Or would you say you're going through your own tech evolution to change the company?
We believe that tech could serve the beauty of everyone. So that's why we are using tech as a capacity to improve again and again our different products, but also to use the technology to have a lot of pleasure with the beauty, with the cosmetics, products and things like that. And so that's why it's for us something which is very important and totally integrated in the way we are thinking, in the way we are interconnecting also with our customers. Today, our customers are on TikTok, of course. They are buying our product on Amazon and things like that. So it's super important for us to be connected with also what our customers are expecting, are waiting for.
One of the things that fascinates me most about the general counsel role is that you touch every corner of the business and you're involved in many of the decisions that need to be made internally if there's a legal angle to it. Is it fun to be general counsel of L'Oréal? And when you're looking at the really cool marketing that you do, the great influencer campaigns and being able to impact people in such a personal way, is there a degree of fun along the job as well?
Absolutely. It's a fantastic company. And it's true that, first of all, you are a leader of your industry. So it puts on you some responsibilities, but also some duties, right? To all the time trying to support the business, to think about the new trends and things like that. We have a kind of mantra, at L'Oréal. We say that it's super important to catch all the trends of the market. It's really our duty. And we have also, and this is where I love the DNA of the company, because there is a the part of peasant, we take into account, we manage properly the company and things like that, and the poetry with the dream of their products. And I think this is a balance of those two characters. This is really what illustrates L'Oréal. And I personally believe, and it is true that it's things that sometimes you do not think about, but with our product, of course, we bring some dreams, we bring some, if I can say, coolness, some comfort to people. And in the world, which is sometimes so complicated, when you are opening the news and things like that on TV, you see on the networks and things like that, you see so many things. Maybe it's a bit naive from my side, but for me, I believe that because of that, we can bring some also sometimes some different perspective to people.
Totally. And I guess being sat here in Paris today, L'Oréal is part of the culture, and you create the culture in many ways here in this city. Do you ever get involved in the large campaigns or the fashion weeks that we see here in Paris? Is there an element of your job that can touch on it?
The people from my team look at it, we did something which for L'Oréal Paris, maybe you heard about this show. And I think it's totally L'Oréal. Why that? Because in fact, we do not provide fashion, and for us, but L'Oréal Paris and most of the défilés that you have normally are private. Whereas this one is public.
Yeah.
And it was really a will from our top management to do that. And the last one, which happened close to the city, was something totally open to the public in the city. And I think it's a symbol, where the beauty is belonging to everyone, right? And it's exactly beauty for each and beauty for all, right, at the end.
I thought it was a brilliant campaign. To end and to round off the podcast, I would love to ask you, as a senior leader, if we're looking ahead, what's one challenge that you think we need to overcome, or what's top of mind for you today as we look to the year ahead?
It's a good question, and it's a complicated one. And to make it shorter, I think we know the uncertainty of the world and this complexity. And I was mentioning these transitions. And I believe that myself, only me, I'm nothing. It's a team. It's an organization, it's a team, and I'm thinking about all my team in the legal and compliance organization. And I think my first role is to make sure that my team will be in a comfort zone and realize that, of course, we have a lot of challenges, but we have everything in our hands, to navigate in these different challenges. So communication will be key. Communication this is a gap. We have our top leaders who give us the possibility to navigate, in this world. We have our goals because it's important, for our organization, in our transformation. But we are here also collectively, all together, and definitely more stronger.
Thank you so much for rounding off the podcast with that answer and your future outlook there. It would be remiss of me not to thank you for pulling up a seat here today. It's been a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Justin. Thank you very much. Thank you.